So we have just had our latest market crash. So I thought I'd do a market update video. I did a video not too long ago, my last video, in fact, where I was talking about the 5 best cryptos. Obviously in a couple of days, things have crashed, but I'm still going to give my outlook on the market and go through some altcoins, including the ones from the previous video, which I'll link down below, and give my overall thoughts on the market because I think that we are still in a very, very good position. I know people don't want to hear that, but trust me, we are. It's natural and very normal and healthy for corrections to happen in the grand scheme of things. So let's have a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and overall, let's look at some cryptos to see which ones are strong and which ones to stay away from. I know it's annoying when YouTubers ask this, but if you want to see more altcoin reviews and the market update, hit the subscribe button and notification bell, especially during these times. Help a small channel like mine grow. It does go a long way. Now, why did the market crash? I think the market crashed because of the FTT debacle, which is basically that they're doing some dodgy dealings behind the back, trying to maybe dethrone Binance. Potentially, you don't really want to anger the biggest exchange in the world, or the biggest crypto exchange in the world, I should say. And it seems that there's some turmoil happening between the two people, Binance and FTT. And Binance is basically liquidating their FTX tokens. And right now, I would not be touching FTX at all, maybe shorting it. You definitely seems to have a bit of upside, but we'll cover that in a little bit, but let's just have a look at the market for now. So Bitcoin has fallen quite a bit. Now, I did get its perfect rejection at the 21K mark right here at the yellow golden line, right there. Perfect rejection on the daily. Unfortunately, just wasn't able to get there. And unfortunately, this happens in crypto, right? We're not in a bull market, guys. We are still very much in a bear market, but something I do want to emphasize, and I've been saying this on my videos, is we are now accumulating between the 17.5 range and the 25K range in Bitcoin. What does that mean? It basically means whales are buying up and stocking up their Bitcoin ready for the next bull run, which might happen next year, maybe mid next year if I had to guess, maybe late next year. But basically you want a nice, good, solid accumulation phase of around a year, in my opinion. A year gives you a nice, good buffer where things are boring, things are dull. Yes, you can make a few trades here and there, but the whales really want the best assets. Could be shares, could be crypto, could be property at the best possible prices. These people are vultures. They come up on the media and they say, oh, it's a terrible time to buy. Terrible. But meanwhile, they're actually buying because if you're a millionaire or a billionaire, you'd be doing the same thing, right? You wouldn't want anyone to take your awesome assets at those cheap prices. It's what any human would do. So don't listen to the news in the sense that with these experts or analysts who show up on these programs are usually whales themselves and they run underground syndicates and things like that. You can read books about them too. I'll link maybe one below, but by Tom Williams. He was actually one of the underground syndicates, and he literally wrote a book about how he would purposely mislead people. When he wanted to sell his shares, he would literally be on the news, be like, I think it's a fantastic time to buy. And when he wanted to buy some, he'd be like, it's a terrible time to buy. So be careful with your how you listen to the news. I'm not saying don't listen to the news. Just always take it with a grain of salt because they're there just to sell you whatever is, going to get the most views. And right now what sells is just bad news. But going back to Bitcoin, you can see Bitcoin has just gone through this sideways accumulation range. This needs more time to accumulate. So as long as we're still between this range, we're in a healthy range. I repeat, I would not start getting worried until we break 17.5. Break 17.5, that is a really, really bad sign. And I would start stressing at that point, thinking, okay, when's the next round of accumulation? Because so far, Bitcoin's looking healthy. We have been rejected a few times at the 50, but that's okay. We just need a little bit more time to accumulate, find Bitcoin, find some good altcoins for some small trades. But I think most people should just be buying Bitcoin, ETH, and just sticking to those only, getting ready for the next leg up for the bull market because it's very, very hard to make trades in and out at this market condition. Having a look at USDT, so this is the stable coin chart, and you can see very, very cleanly, there's the 50% coming at 7.56, and you can see, again, look how well this tool works, the perfect rejection at the 50% on that wick there on the candle. So look for things maybe to increase or not, we have to wait and see, but for now, the crypto market is sort of having a little bit more support coming into the market. So people are trading out their USDT for altcoins right now. I'll show you that in a bit, and Bitcoin. So right now the bleeding is stopping for now. Obviously things can happen and develop, but right now perfect rejection at the 50 with USDT. If we have a look at USDC, the other stable coin I look at, you can see perfect rejection back at the swing bottom from 14th of August. And again, looks like we'll probably climb up on this one, to be honest, but you can see for now, just resting. Having a look at ETH, ETH is in a much, much more stronger position. So you can really see ETH was getting accumulated in this range. And then of course, it came out very, very strong out of the gate with a nice, healthy breakout. And then it starts to bounce out across this 50%. This is what strength looks like. While the market is free falling, ETH, yes, it's falling, but not as bad. Touches the 50%. I actually got some ETH at this golden line just today. gets bought back up, and already I'm doing pretty well. Now, I'm not saying that's what I always do, but I'm saying there you go, there's an easy 3-4%. I'm not trading it, it's just what I'm doing to accumulate more Ethereum for the next bull run. That's part of my strategy, is accumulating Ethereum because I think it's really, really strong and just waiting for that next round to come up. I'm staking it, I'm earning some rewards because I just think it's a very good low risk, high reward within the crypto space and of an asset. And I do quite like Ethereum if you've been following my channel. So there's your bounce on the 50%. It's really, really important ETH doesn't break this 50% at that 1,455 mark. So again, that's this golden line right here. And then again, the good thing about Ethereum is that it has a lot of support underneath it, a lot of support. So you've got support here around the, call it, $1,400 mark. We've got more support right here around that $1,350 mark. So about every $50, we've got really strong support coming in. If Ethereum were to free fall, it would definitely have a lot of support. And that's why I love Ethereum, because you basically got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels of support right there hugged in. Keep a note of this image, because when we look at altcoins, that's what you want to see. You want to see basically how many support barriers are being formed as a crypto is gradually going up. So much more safer time. Having a look at total market cap 1. There's total market cap 1. Again, perfect rejection at the 50 today, unfortunately. So we dipped below it and opened below it, or touching it, but below it now. And now we'll probably start making our way to somewhere between the $930 billion mark, anywhere between $850 billion mark. Unfortunately, Bitcoin dominance continues to be a bit of a slog and a bit of a sideways action. So that's why altcoins are not bleeding by as much, because Bitcoin dominance is sort of going between the 40 odd percent to about 42%. Now, let's have a look at some altcoins and let's have a look at which ones are bad, which ones are good. Don't really worry about the red for now. These are really good times to actually have a look at the market and see what they're doing. In fact, what I always say on my channel is wait for the next day to go. So we've got another 16 hours left of the day, if you have a look here for the market. And basically, you want to see how things close. If things have a really, really good close, those altcoins, it was a highly volatile day. Not all altcoins will close strong. I can guarantee you that never happens. But the ones that do are pretty good to go for long in. The ones that do really bad and fall short are the ones that you want to short. So let's just go with a few good ones and a few bad ones. So off the bat, Aave is one of the strong ones. I have been talking about this crypto for a bit. Now, again, this thing can break through support. It can, but it's still a good crypto because it's managed to hold on. There's its 50% at $80.77. And there you go. There's your wick below it. Closes immediately, it doesn't close, but gets bought back up immediately. We have another 16 hours left to play out, so we'll see where it closes. But this thing has bounced across its 50% numerous times. And again, if it does that a few times, it's showing some strength. Hopefully it doesn't do it too many times, because then it can actually be a sign of weakness. But for now, it's been able to bounce off it a few times, and hopefully it can keep doing that. But looking long-term into Aave, it's looking strong. We have a look at APT. We'll have a look at APT since my alert went off. I always hate this chart because I have to zoom right in for like a solid 25 seconds, which is really annoying. APT, straight out, just be careful of this one. This one is at the moment free falling. I have shorted this one numerous times and made good money from it. At the moment, there is basically the last bit of support was at $6.90-ish, and now we're going to basically free fall anywhere between here to about $0, literally, or in the cents, so about $1.10 or $1.05, call it. So this thing can really go against you. Anyone who says buy APT, stay away from their channel or that person. Don't ignore them, because this thing is free falling at the moment. We have to see where the base falls, but at the moment this thing is just free falling. So where this thing lands, we have to wait and see. We don't know where it's going to be. And like Bitcoin, how it took 6 months of sideways, you want to wait 3-4 months of just sideways action for this time to see where that base forms. Very, very risky. There's 10,000 other cryptos. Pick one of the better ones. Having a look at other ones, I spoke about Arweave in my last video. This thing is breaking down quite heavily on this one. So that's just the way it can go sometimes in cryptocurrency land. Sometimes you get the breakout and they sustain the move. Sometimes they don't. And unfortunately, Arweave is starting to get a little bit broken. So if I delete all of these lines, here's the yellow golden line, $13.10 at its 50%. And unfortunately, we have a clean cut below it. Clean cut. There is no bounce. Aave, I showed you a bounce. This is not bouncing. This is just slicing right through it. I do expect the breakout bar from the 3rd of November to become support. So look for this $11.30 mark to be some support there. Again, if it's a clean cut, it's going to go lower. If not, then hopefully we can start making our way higher, because this is a crypto that has broken out quite aggressively. So we'll have to see where that next base forms, because at the moment it's getting sold off quite severely, and we have to see where that next base comes in. Until then, it's a risk. Chiliz is another crypto I talked about yesterday. Now, this one is getting bought back up. However, it is having a huge struggle against its major top at that 28 cent mark. So that's this mark here at the top. right corner, the 28 and 28, so 28 cents. 28 cents and 28. And basically this thing is just really struggling on that top. You can just see the wicks really coming in. So all this energy is just trying and it just gets sold and tries again and gets sold. The good news is that it's trying to be sold off, but it has gotten bought back up quite aggressively. So I did talk about this crypto potentially being a crypto that's going to have a really good genuine breakout. Should this close in a healthy way, I do expect this one mark to break out, so that 28.28 mark to be broken. But we have to wait for now because, like I said, it has struggled big time to get past this one mark. So at the moment, for now, just be careful. Cody is a crypto I've been looking at, and you can see another perfect bounce on the 50%. So you can see today, maybe not the most perfect bounces, but because we are slightly below it, but it's near the 50%. So another 16 hours, let's see where this one falls off. Let's have a look at some bad cryptos. Okay, let's have a look at the star of the show, FTT. If we have a look at FTT, okay, this is FTT, and you will see, if you've been watching my channel and you watched my last video, I talked about the low for June coming in. Some cryptos put in the low in June, some other ones put it in October. Most, or maybe 30-40% of them, put it in June and have pushed away since then, which is good. Ethereum is one of them. Bitcoin is one of them. So you want your crypto to be like that. This is a huge level of support, and I will show you Solana, which is just bouncing off it at the moment. But at the moment, FTT clean cut right through it. This is a extremely risky cryptocurrency, even if you were shorting on this one, because there's going to be a lot of volatility. This was down, I think about 30%, and you can see it's getting bought back up to about 18% now. So it's very, 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 very volatile for experienced traders only. And unfortunately, one of these ones, once it's already gone low that much, it's, wait, pick something else. Pick something else that hasn't dropped or pumped as hard. Let's have a look at Solana, because that is one that is at the moment bouncing its June support level. So there's the June support level on the 14th of June. So Solana is one of the ones that put it around mid-June, and then there it is. And then you can see it did put a wick slightly below it, which does technically put it in a weaker position, but it does get bought back up, and you do not want Solana to drop past $26 US. You do not want that. This is a crypto that is at the moment looking extremely weak. You can see the last 3 days really getting heavily sold off. Some support has come in for Solana for now, but it needs to get away from this $26 mark, because if it breaks and it does close below it, it's going to be a huge barrier of resistance, and it's going to be pretty bad. If I show you something like Cardano, this is another one that has broke the June low. So there's the June low. We'll call it the May. Yeah, here it is, 13th of July. Okay, so you can see there was the May low. There was the June low, not quite as low as the May one. And then there was the low in July, which dipped a bit lower. And then you can see it broke it in October 10th. Did manage to put in lower lows before getting some support. And then now you can see it becomes resistance in this area here now. So there it is, puts the wick up, puts the wick up, puts the wick up, puts the wick up, actually closes on it this time. And then you can see it only sustained it just for a few moves before coming back down. And now it becomes resistance again, closes, bounces on it again, and now it becomes resistance again. That's what happens when you break a key level of support. It becomes a major resistance area. And even if you break past it, it's very hard to stay above it. So that's why Solana's definitely a no-go for the long term at the moment for me. Are there any good cryptos that I'm looking at for the long position? There are a few, but not much. I think the only one that's actually looking okay for now-ish is actually Chainlink. This is one that's actually holding up relatively good, surprisingly. You can just see there's the high, there's the 50%, really putting away, a good move away from it. You can see really got bought back up, supported, didn't even have to come close to its 50%. That's what strength looks like. And you're actually a pretty good mark away from its one mark at around 12% profit with no leverage. And that would come inside from June high. So you can see Chainlink has actually put some lower lows in, but also some higher lows on the bottom here. So it's a bit of a higher risk play, but at the moment looking strong. The last crypto that's actually looking quite strong that I'm actually a bit surprised at, to be honest, is actually one of the worst cryptocurrencies for holding long term, but it's actually done pretty well, and that is Litecoin. So here's Litecoin. There's the low in June. Actually managed to never really test it, which is good. 50% becomes major resistance at this area between September and October. So that's your sideways action between then and trying to break past the 50%. It does, it gets a good close on it, starts bouncing along it, and then you get some nice good breakouts. It does break the one mark at $67.48, which is good. Bounces along it, but of course can't sustain the move too much because we're in a bear market. It's very hard for these cryptos to keep going up. So, and this one inevitably does break down. Look for the next base to form before hopefully getting the next leg up. But at the moment, these are very short-term trades. Very, very, very few altcoins I would be holding for a few couple. And the last crypto is actually Matic. This is a crypto that has held up extremely strong throughout basically 2022, really, or basically when it's putting the low since June. So there's your low in June, mid-June, and then there you go, breaks the 50%, starts bouncing across it, becomes resistance and a bit of churn around it, gets the breakout, hangs around the breakout. This is one of the more stronger cryptocurrencies, but like I said, a lot of cryptos, when they start going higher to higher highs, they are struggling because it's just a bear market. That's just the reality, unfortunately, about holding these cryptos. Be careful with anyone saying hodl these altcoins. I would not be hodling, but there's interpretation to how long you want to hold them and what is your trade. It could be a couple of days, could be a couple of hours, could be a couple of minutes. It's all up to the person to interpret and find their own profit targets and risk strategy. But that's going to do it for this video. So I showed you some bad cryptos, some good cryptos, and overall I think the market is overall in a accumulation phase, at least for Bitcoin and ETH, which is why I love them so much. There are some altcoins which are looking good for the next phase, but I do expect the sell-off to continue, or at least the bleeding to continue at least throughout this week, maybe 2 weeks at most. It is unfortunate, but again, crypto is still in a good position. It's not in a terrible position until Bitcoin breaks 17.5K. That's when I would say, okay, that basically was 6 months of just sideways action, and in bleeding past it, it's a really, really bad sign. But until then, crypto is in a good stance. Dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and ETH still remains the best strategy, in my opinion. And shorting the market or longing the market on leverage using short-term timeframes, intraday timeframes is still the best way of trading, in my opinion, again. But let me know what you think. If you want to share your trading strategy, you can leave a comment down below. But until then, everyone, I will catch you on the next video.